Quando Milionário Árabe Encontra Menina Sem-Teto com Filhinha Doente, a Verdade bone-chilling. A warm desert sun hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the crumbling sidewalks of the bustling city. The haves and have-nots danced together in an uncaring waltz, but on the fringes, one particular scene was about to change everything. A homeless girl named Layla cradled her sick daughter, a tiny hand clutching her worn-out shirt. The child's skin was pale, and her breaths came in ragged gasps. Each wheeze sliced through the chatter of the marketplace like a knife, a haunting reminder of lives in the balance, of hope dangling by a thread. Just then, a sleek black limousine pulled up. The engine growled like a waking beast, and crowds turned to stare as the doors swung wide, revealing a man adorned in opulent silk. Khalid, a billionaire from far away, had seen the world and its horrors, but nothing prepared him for this moment. As he stepped out, a hush fell upon the crowd. This was no ordinary encounter, it was a fateful collision of two worlds suspended in a moment of disbelief. Layla's heart raced, a fusion of fear and hope swirling within her. The strange man looked her way, his dark eyes searching, piercing right through the fear that held her captive. What would he do? Would he be their savior or just another indifferent stranger? Suddenly, Layla's tiny daughter coughed violently, a sound that echoed like a death knell in the chilling air. The crowd gasped, hands flew to mouths, and attention crackled like electricity. A barely contained chaos. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Khalid took a hesitant step forward, eyes locked on the trembling girl and her fragile child, the weight of his riches suddenly feeling insignificant against the gravity of their plight. But what he was about to do would send shockwaves through their world. The whispers of disbelief buzzed around them, as each person leaned in, the tension rising, thicker than the desert heat. Would he extend a hand or seal their fate? The answer stood just beyond his lips, a haunting choice lingering like the sun dipping below the horizon. In that critical moment, everything was about to shift, but how? Khalid inhaled sharply, his mind racing. The eyes of the crowd bore down on him, their expectations palpable. He could feel the weight of his wealth, but in this moment, it felt almost like a curse. The child coughed again, the sound tearing through him, igniting a sense of urgency that he couldn't ignore. Help her. Layla's voice was a whisper, barely cutting through the thick barrier of noise. Her desperation seeped into the air like a fog, wrapping around him. In that instant, everything shifted. Khalid knew he couldn't walk away. He couldn't be just another wealthy man who turned a blind eye. As he reached into his coat pocket, he felt the familiar touch of his phone. A lifeline, yet in contrast to the life before him that needed more than a call. He pulled out a wad of cash instead, the crisp bills a stark reminder of the luxury that surrounded him while Layla stood there, trembling with a child's life on the line. The crowd gasped once more as Khalid knelt before Layla. He offered the money, but to him, it felt like a mere band-aid on a gaping wound. Take this, he said, his voice steady, but inside, a storm churned. Get her to a doctor. Layla's eyes filled with tears. She shook her head, and her face twisted with a mix of gratitude and heartbreak. Money can't save her, she whimpered, holding her daughter tighter, as if her love alone could shield the little girl from the pain. The crowd tensed, caught in the emotional reverberation of her words. What could he say? Khalid wasn't equipped for this. He had built an empire on business deals, power plays, and negotiations, but no one had prepared him for this moment of raw humanity, the bright flicker of hope overshadowed by despair. Suddenly, the child's breathing turned shallow again. Layla glanced at her daughter and then back at Khalid, panic flickering in her eyes. Please, voices of the crowd swelled. Was it outrage? Sympathy? Or a deeper, darker curiosity? Khalid locked eyes with Layla, and in that fragile moment, he felt an irrepressible urge to act. He stood up, resolve hardening like armor. Let us get her to a hospital, he declared, his voice ringing with newfound authority. The crowd murmured, the energy shifting from disbelief to something electric, a flicker of hope igniting within them, but just as he turned to Layla, a shadow fell across the street. A fierce-looking man, clothed in dark leather, strode forward, a sneer etched across his face. You think you can just take her? He spat, eyes narrowing. The air around them thickened, tension swelling as the mysterious man collided with Khalid's moment of compassion. Layla flinched, fear creeping into her expression. The crowd held its breath, sensing the danger lurking behind Khalid's decision. Get away from us! Khalid boomed, standing firm, but doubt clawed at him. Who was this man? What would he do? As the mysterious figure approached, Khalid realized he might be stepping into something far darker than he'd imagined. The air crackled with anticipation and dread as he prepared to confront the unknown. Would he be fighting for Layla's daughter, or would this act of kindness plunge him deeper into a nightmarish reality? And suddenly, as the two men faced off, the stakes rose more than they ever could have anticipated. What had he stirred in that moment of compassion? And how would it change the lives of those trapped in this tangled web? Khalid's heart raced as the dark silhouette drew closer. There was no mistaking the threat in the man's glare, now a predator, looming over Layla and her fragile daughter. Khalid stood firm, his mind a storm of thoughts, grappling with the man's malevolence and his own resolve to protect them. Who are you? Khalid demanded, his voice rising above the murmurs of the crowd. It was a challenge, but inside, trepidation twisted like a knife. The man took another step forward, his leather jacket creaking ominously in the tense silence. A concerned citizen, he snarled, his lips curling back, revealing teeth like daggers. And you, with your money and your arrogance, think you can just waltz in here and save the day? The crowd shifted uneasily, sensing the rippling tension, on the edge between hope and despair. Khalid locked his eyes on Layla, seeing the flicker of terror and fear mirrored in her face. He knew that whatever happened next would reverberate far beyond this moment. Leave us alone, Khalid said, his throat dry but his command resonant. The weight of his wealth felt like a mountain behind him, a reminder that power came with peril. We need to get her to a hospital. The man laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Khalid's spine. A hospital? That's rich. You think you can buy your way in? This isn't just about a broken heart, he taunted, glancing between Khalid and Layla. You don't know what you're getting into. Khalid's fists clenched, the threat hanging heavy in the air. He couldn't allow this man to frighten Layla any further. Step back! He shouted, drawing the attention of onlookers. He could see a few faces among the crowd reflecting concern, others intrigued by the unfolding drama. Just then, a small whimper shattered the tension, the girl's weak voice barely making it through her cough. Layla's face crumbled, her desperation emanating like a beacon. Everything inside Khalid screamed to protect her, to act. Without another word, he lunged forward, shoving past the leather-clad man. The crowd gasped, and Khalid felt a surge of adrenaline. But the man was ready, grabbing Khalid by the arm with a ruthless grip. You think you can be a hero? Let me show you what true power looks like. Khalid jerked his arm free, heart pounding as he met the man's gaze. You're hurting her. Get away. But as he tried to move toward Layla, a sudden flash of movement caught his eye. A second man emerged from the shadows, equally menacing and just as determined. A pit dropped in Khalid's stomach as realization sank in. This was a setup. He fought to regain his composure. He couldn't think just of himself now. Layla's daughter was innocent, trapped in a situation no child should ever endure. The stakes rose as he assessed their predicament. He had no chances left. At that moment, a breakthrough an idea sparked in Khalid's mind. He had resources, connections, power not just in wealth but in influence. Enough. You two want to fight? He proclaimed, his voice slicing through the tension. What if we make a deal instead? Both men paused, the challenge hanging between them. The crowd's collective breath stalled as they waited, hoping to see the unexpected twist in Khalid's audacious move. A trap was looming, and Khalid needed to tread carefully. Let us take this somewhere private. If you want real power, I'll give you that, in exchange for her safety. Would they take the bait? The men's expressions shifted, curiosity mingled with suspicion. But then came the real question, did Khalid just plunge himself into a deeper darkness, or had he found a flicker of hope in the chaos? The tension danced in the air, thick like fog, as he waited for an answer. Would they recognize the opportunity, or provoke a tempest? As the minutes stretched, and eyes locked in a silent battle of wills, Khalid braced himself for any outcome. What on earth had he just set in motion, and would he have the power to turn it towards light before it consumed him? Khalid's heart pounded in his chest as the moment hung, visceral and electric. The first man's expression shifted, the glimmer of interest effectively trading places with the predatory glare. What are you offering? The second man spoke, his voice deep with intrigue, breaking the stalemate. The weight of his words hovered heavy, blending danger with a palpable hope. Khalid knew he was treading on a knife's edge. Every instinct warned him that he might be about to bargain away more than he ever intended. Let her go, and I'll make sure you're taken care of whatever you need, he threw out, urgency creeping into his voice. The first man, the one with the jagged smile, moved closer, his eyes narrowing. You think we're just going to trust you? You're an outsider, throwing money around like it's candy. You don't know how our world works. Khalid's mind raced. No, but I know people. I know the right people. He took a deep breath, feeling the crowd's gaze lock onto him like the pressure of 1,000 eyes. Every face reflected a flicker of hope or dread. I can help you, but you have to trust me. This girl, he pointed at Layla's daughter, still wrapped up in the blanket, trembling and pale, she's innocent in all this. Let her go. A murmur rippled through the crowd. The threat of violence felt imminent as the seconds twitched and flickered. Khalid's chest tightened, his voice steadying. You want power? You want respect? Align yourself with me. Both men exchanged hardened looks, weighing their options. The second man's jaw clenched, uncertainty etched deeply upon his face. Khalid seized the opportunity, pressing on, we can change the game. You have my word. Just let the girl go. And then, as if the world slowed down, the first man finally took a step back, a sardonic smile creeping back into view. You think words mean anything? Your power is just a game, isn't it? He looked directly at Khalid. But maybe, just maybe, you're right. A partnership does have its allure. Layla, still crumpled on the ground, looked from Khalid to the men, confusion mingling with fear. Khalid's heart crushed under the weight of her gaze. He had to protect her. Every moment felt like an eternity as he gauged their reactions, living in a world where his options were running thin. Time is ticking, the second man growled, his temper rising. Make it quick, or we'll decide what to do with you both. Sweat beaded on Khalid's brow, yet desperation steeled his resolve. I'm serious. Meet me at the old warehouse by the docks at midnight. We can talk business. Just, let her go. Silence engulfed the crowd, a breath held too long in anticipation. The darkness within the men crackled, charged. The first man cocked his head, something akin to amusement in his eyes. You really think we'll hang around just to discuss a little proposal? Just my chance, Khalid shot back, mustering every ounce of defiance he could summon. Decide now, or lose everything. A flicker of hesitation passed between the men, their tension a thick pulse. Khalid leaned into the moment, heart racing, knowing he had pushed them as far as he could. Fine, the first man spat, eyes glinting with challenge. Midnight it is. But remember this, call it's our show now. Just as quickly as they had appeared, the men retreated, shadows slipping back into the depths of the night. The gathering crowd erupted into frantic murmurs, disbelief and relief sending waves of energy coursing around. Khalid turned to Layla, brushing a strand from her distraught face. We're getting out of here. I promise. But even as he spoke, an echo of doubt nestled in his heart. Would he truly be able to hold up his end? Suddenly, amidst the chaos of escaping voices, one lingering thought gripped him with terror. What if midnight didn't just bring a solution? What if it brought the end? And as the crowd began to disperse, leaving Khalid with Layla and her daughter, an unwelcome realization settled heavily in his gut: time was no longer on their side. What awaited him at the darkened warehouse would change the game forever, and that uncertainty loomed larger with every second ticking away. Would he forge an alliance or face a reckoning? Khalid's pulse raced as he grasped Layla's shoulders, his eyes scanning the dimly lit street, searching for any sign of danger that could ultimately spell disaster. The oppressive weight of the night pressed down on him, every noise amplified in the echoing silence: a canine bark in the distance, the murmur of someone's laughter. Were those the sounds of normalcy in a disrupted world? Are you okay? He asked Layla as they stepped away from the crowd, her tremors still evident in the way she clutched her daughter tightly to her chest. But the look in her eyes told him that they were both far from okay. They let her go, but what's next? What did you promise them, Khalid? You're not thinking straight. Her voice was sharp, tinged with panic and anger, and as she said it, a flicker of vulnerability crossed her face. I didn't have a choice. I had to make a deal, Khalid replied, instinctively squaring his shoulders, his nerves sparking like static electricity. He lifted his chin defiantly. If we can get through tonight, we can find a way out of this. I swear. He could almost hear his own heart thundering in his ears, an urgent reminder that moments like these were fleeting. Time was a thief, and he felt it slipping away. We need to get to the warehouse early. I'll need to find out what I'm really up against. Layla held her daughter closer as they hurried down a narrow alley, the shadows stretching around them. Each shadow felt like a watchful eye, every corner a lurking threat. Khalid could sense the tight knot of fear that tightened in his stomach. Do you really think they'll keep their word? Layla's voice cracked, and he didn't answer right away. His silence was heavy with uncertainty. In this world, trust was as fragile as glass. He glanced back, hoping no one had followed. The alleyway emptied into a larger street, where bright lights flickered, promising both warmth and danger. I'll find a way to protect you. I'll make this right, he assured her, but he could feel a crack forming in his own conviction. What if they don't want a partnership? What if instead they want revenge? Her tone was biting, but there was a hint of desperation woven in, enough to pull at his heartstrings. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows ahead. Khalid froze, every muscle tense as the man stepped forward, a slight but unmistakable swagger in his walk. Dressed in a dark trench coat, he was reminiscent of the men he had just encountered. Looks like you've got an interesting night ahead of you, the man spoke, voice smooth and casual, but with an edge that sent a shiver racing down Khalid's spine. Get lost, Khalid snapped, instinctively shielding Layla. The stranger chuckled softly, unfazed. Oh, but I have something you might want to hear. Let's just say, not all deals are sealed. Khalid's heart sank. What do you know? Everything, and nothing. But you'd be wise to consider that not everyone plays by the same rules. They'll expect you to deliver, or else. The man leaned closer, lowering his voice. It's not just the girl's life at stake. It's yours too. What do you want? Khalid demanded, fists clenching at his sides. The man stepped back, a smile creeping onto his lips. Meet me at the docks. I'll share more, if you're willing to pay the price. With those final words, he melted back into the shadows, leaving Khalid and Layla frozen in a moment of dread. Khalid's mind whirled with the implications. Who was that? Layla whispered, fear tightening her throat. That he shook his head, the stakes lifting higher with every second that passed. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing, we're running out of time. Every instinct screamed for them to move, to flee. But he lingered, haunted by the specter of possibility, wondering if the next move he made would seal their fate or offer a lifeline, and as they darted toward the dock, a chilling thought clung to him. What if, in this game of power, none of them were as safe as they believed? The hangman's noose felt closer than ever, dragging them both to a reckoning that awaited beneath the stars. What he would uncover next could shatter everything he thought he knew or change the course of destiny forever. The wind whipped through the dockside, carrying the salty tang of the sea and the distant echoes of a world indifferent to their plight. Khalid and Layla moved cautiously, the atmosphere thickening with each step. Shadows draped over crates and boats, concealing threats just out of sight. Khalid's heart pounded as they approached the meeting point, a place that felt more like a trap than a negotiation. Are we really doing this? Layla's voice broke through the intensity, her fear palpable like a low fog. She glanced around nervously, the darkness pressing in closer. What if it's a setup? What if we get caught? Khalid paused, catching the flicker of doubt in her eyes. I know, but we don't have a choice. I can't just walk away, not when your daughter's life hangs in the balance. He swallowed hard, the weight of his promise crushing down on him. They reached a battered old fishing boat, its hull creaking softly like an ominous warning. With each step, tension wove itself into a tighter knot in Khalid's gut. Stay close to me, he murmured, scanning the dimly lit area. The sudden sound of laughter startled them. Khalid turned sharply, only to find a group of men lounging near a pile of crates, their eyes flashing with mischief. They seemed oblivious to the storm brewing just moments away, but Khalid had learned that appearances were deceiving. Over here. The call cut through the air, sharp and commanding. Khalid's instincts screamed. The figure from earlier emerged, the trench coat billowing slightly as he approached. Glad you could make it, he said, a smug grin spreading across his face. You're right on time. Just as I expected. Cut the games, Khalid snapped, stepping forward to stand protectively in front of Layla. What do you know? The man chuckled, taking leisurely steps closer until the scent of cheap cologne filled the air between them. Oh, I know plenty, enough to unravel your little deal. Enough with the theatrics. Layla's voice rose, shaking with a mix of fear and fury. We want to know about the girl. What have you done with her? Patience, darling, the man teased. The girl is safe, for now. But your life? That's another matter entirely. He gestured to the shadows around them, and Khalid's heart plummeted as dark figures began to emerge, surrounding them. Listen closely, Khalid. You may think you're making all the moves, but you're not the player you believe yourself to be. The game's deeper and far more dangerous than you realize. He could feel the air crackle with tension, and Khalid sensed the threatening weight of the unspoken dangers that surrounded them. Every instinct urged him to flee, but the thought of leaving Layla and her daughter behind was unbearable. Let her go, and I'll do whatever you want. He shouted, desperation coloring his voice. Just tell me what I need to do. The man smiled, revealing a glimpse of jagged teeth that unsettled Khalid. You aren't in a position to negotiate. We aim to send a message. You'll deliver it for us. Khalid's mind raced. What message? Revenge demands a price. You'll help us squeeze the truth from those who think they can betray us without consequences. In short, you'll become our puppet, or lose everything. As horror settled in, Layla's gasps echoed in the background. Khalid clenched his fists, feeling the weight of betrayal looming like an inescapable dark cloud. They had crossed a line, and now there was no turning back, but just as Khalid opened his mouth to protest, a deafening crash rang out from the far end of the dock. They all turned as chaos erupted, screams, shouting, and the sound of something heavy falling. The stranger's expression twisted into one of amusement. "Ah, looks like our fun is about to get even more interesting." Before Khalid could comprehend what was happening, he felt Layla's grip tightening, her eyes wide with fear. "What is happening?" "Things just got complicated," he breathed, adrenaline flooding his veins. He had to act fast. This might be their only chance to escape whatever trap lay ahead, but as he took a step back, ready to pull Layla away, a figure emerged from the shadows, revealing a familiar face that sent a jolt of recognition through him. It was someone he had never expected to see again, a ghost from his past that could change everything. "What are you doing here?" Khalid gasped, the weight of their grim reality crashing down on him. With the stakes rising higher than ever, the night's events spiraled toward a climax that promised to unleash long-buried secrets and threats that even Khalid had yet to understand. And as tension thickened like a fog, the question loomed: who could truly be trusted in a game where lives were the chips at stake? Khalid's breath caught in his throat. The figure stepping into the dim light was none other than Samir, his old friend, now morphed into something darker, something unrecognizable. The years had etched sharp lines into his face, but it was the hunger in his eyes that sent shivers down Khalid's spine. "Samir," Khalid whispered, the name a fragile connection to a past he had thought long locked away. Samir's laugh was a bitter echo, slicing through the tension like a knife. "Surprised to see me?" he sneered, his presence transforming the atmosphere from ominous to downright terrifying. "Surprised? You've been dead to me for years," Khalid retorted, defiance bubbling up inside him. He felt Layla tense beside him, her grip like iron. "I may have been gone, but I never forgot," Samir said, stepping closer, each footfall heavy with intention. "Not when you walked away from everything we built together." "You mean the mess you created?" Khalid shot back, but inside, he was fighting a war of emotions. The shadows around them felt alive, pressing in as Samir continued. "Enough of this. We're here for the girl, aren't we?" Samir's tone shifted, flipping the script from nostalgia to something much darker. "But first, you need to understand your role in this game." Khalid's eyes darted to Layla, her anxiety palpable. "We want her safe, Samir. Just tell us what you need," he said, struggling to keep his voice steadied. A twisted smile crossed Samir's face. "Ah, but it's not that simple. You see, Khalid, your old life has come back to haunt you. You'll deliver that message, make them bleed for what they've done, or you'll regret ever crossing paths with me again." He leaned closer, his breath hot and acrid. "And if you fail, well, I don't think you want to know what that means for Layla's daughter." "Khalid, don't listen to him. He's been tainted, he's not the man you knew." Layla interjected, her voice shaking but firm. Ignoring her, Khalid stepped forward, his fists clenched tight. "What do you want from me? To become a monster? I can't do that." "Then you'll lose everything," Samir replied coldly. Around them, the shadowy figures shifted, their eyes glinting with malicious excitement. As panic threatened to overtake Khalid, a voice broke through the clamor. "You don't have to do this." It was Layla. He could see the resolve in her eyes, the motherly instinct burning through the fear. "You can still choose differently, Khalid. We can figure this out together." The moment hung in the air, charged with tension as Khalid wrestled with the painful pull of loyalty to an old bond versus the responsibility for Layla and her daughter. Every second felt like an eternity. Before he could answer, the crash from earlier echoed once more, drawing all attention towards the end of the dock where a dark shape had fallen. Suddenly, sirens howled in the distance, fading in and out of the fray, a lifeline or a cruel twist of fate. Samir's eyes narrowed. "It seems the night isn't finished with us yet. But I see you're not quite ready to commit. Let's change that." His grin widened, a predator toying with its prey. Khalid felt a tightening around his heart. He'd been drawn back into a world he couldn't escape, and what lay ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. "What now?" he demanded, desperate for a way out. Now we play. And trust me, Khalid, the rules are about to get a lot more dangerous. As tension tightened around them like a noose, Khalid realized there was no escape without sacrifice. A decision loomed ahead, one that would seal their fates. Would he descend into the darkness with Samir, or fight against it at all costs? The sirens grew louder, mingling with Layla's rising panic, and as Khalid's pulse quickened, the truth struck hard. He was standing at the edge of a precipice, and he had no clue what awaited him on the other side. With every heartbeat, a question loomed, one that threatened to unravel everything. Was he ready to sacrifice his own humanity to save Layla's daughter? Khalid's mind was racing, drowning in a torrent of fear and dread. The sirens were growing closer, their wailing slicing through the thick tension like a knife. Layla's voice cracked, panic overtaking her. Khalid. We can't trust him. Shut up. Samir snapped, irritation flashing across his face. You're just a pawn in a game far beyond your understanding. Khalid, caught between loyalty and responsibility, felt his heart pounding like a sledgehammer in his chest. What game, Samir? What do you really want? You want revenge for some perceived wrong? This isn't just about you anymore. Samir's eyes gleamed with a twisted satisfaction. Oh, but it is. You see, this isn't just about settling old scores, it's about power. Those who wronged me aren't just going to sit back and let you walk away after you send them my message. You'll be the one who gets your hands dirty. A shadow flickered behind him, and Khalid instinctively stepped closer to Layla. I refuse to become your tool, Samir. Whatever destruction you're planning to unleash, I want to be part of it. Samir's face twisted into an ugly sneer. Then we will see exactly how much you are willing to sacrifice. This isn't a negotiation. It's a demand. With those words, the dock trembled under the weight of unseen threats, the shadows shifting more ominously in the flickering light. Khalid's breath came faster as he caught glimpses of ghostly figures lurking beyond the edges, their intentions dark and malevolent. An unexpected crash jolted the air again, sharper this time. Khalid turned, trying to focus through the veil of tension that had settled like fog around them. But then, a chilling realization struck him. Oh no, he gasped, the full weight of the night crashing down on him. Layla, we can't just stand here. If we don't act now, we may lose everything. Do you even have a plan? She asked, her voice trembling. There was fear in it, but also strength. She needed him to be strong now more than ever. Khalid gritted his teeth, forcing his mind to race past the fear. We alert the authorities, get the girl, then we use that to negotiate with Samir. It's the only way. But Samir's laugh echoed in the night, a low, menacing sound. You think they'll come in time? No one cares about this side of the city. I promise you, you won't make it far before my men shut this down. And then he gestured dramatically, a taunt that made Layla gasp. Khalid's muscles tensed as adrenaline surged through him. What's stopping me from just walking away right now? He challenged, forcing indifference into his voice. The girl, Samir replied simply, leaning closer, eyes probing. You may think you're strong enough to resist, but can you bear the weight of her blood on your hands? I'll give you time, Khalid. A few minutes. Decide if you want to play or if you want to save your friend. You'll either make a choice that'll haunt you, or I'll take matters into my own hands. In an instant, his henchmen edged closer, shadows from the darkness flickering to life, and Khalid's heart raced like it was about to explode. He looked at Layla, desperation mingling with determination. We have to try. She squeezed his arm, her voice cracking. There must be a way. Khalid's gaze locked with hers, the cold grip of dread beginning to thaw under the heat of resolve. Okay, then we'll play your game, Samir. But on my terms, Khalid said, feeling the weight of his choice burrowing deep. The challenge hung between them, a dare amidst the suffocating tension. As Samir grinned, another crash sounded in the distance, drowning the air in chaos. The sirens were now almost upon them, the urgent blare announcing both help and danger, but could Khalid trust the authorities not to walk into a trap? With the stakes clearer than ever, a new urgency surged through him. How could he protect Layla's daughter without losing his own humanity in the process? As Samir's twisted laughter echoed around them, Khalid realized they were running out of time. What unexpected turn lay just ahead, and what sacrifices would he be forced to make to escape the gathering storm? The shadows writhed around them, and Khalid's heart raced as he took a step closer to Layla. He sensed the raw fear hanging in the air, thick enough to choke them. Light flickered over Samir's face, illuminating the dark gleam in his eyes. "Do you really think you can play this game? You're out of your league," Samir taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. Khalid swallowed hard, scanning the creeping darkness beyond Samir's henchmen. Every instinct screamed for movement, but he felt rooted in place. "Let us get one thing straight, Samir. Just because I'm forced to play doesn't mean I'll lose." Brave words. But bravery doesn't save lives. Samir waved an arm, commanding his men to stand ready. "You're gambling with the only chip that matters." Layla's hand tightened around his arm again, her eyes searching his face. "We can't just wait. We have to move. They might already be here." And just like that, a scream pierced through the night, jagged and wild, echoing off the walls of the surrounding buildings. Khalid's gut twisted. That wasn't just a sound of chaos, it was fear personified. "Shut her up!" Samir barked, glaring at his men. Khalid felt the ground under him tremble, not just from their threat but from the weight of his own indecision. He shot Layla a determined look. "We're not waiting. We need to get that girl. This is our only chance." "Your only chance," Samir sneered. "But if you think running into the unknown will save you, you're mistaken." Khalid moved quickly, satisfaction in finally taking action. He squeezed Layla's arm, pulling her back toward the darkness where their only promise of safety lay. "Come on." But before they could dart away, a heavy hand landed on Khalid's shoulder. He spun around to see one of Samir's goons, face carved from stone, blocking their escape. "Going somewhere?" Khalid felt panic rise like bile in his throat. The sirens were getting louder, drowning out the sound of his heart battering against his ribs as he gauged the potential escape routes. "Don't even think about it," the thug growled, eyes darting between Khalid and Layla. "No one leaves, especially not with a target like that." "Let us go," Layla cried, her voice raw. "She's innocent. This has nothing to do with her." "Maybe," Khalid added, "but you'll have to get through me first." Samir stepped closer, amusement playing on his lips. "You don't want to take that path, Khalid. You really don't." Then, without warning, Samir pulled out his phone, a sly grin spreading across his face. "You should know, things are about to get interesting. I've made a few adjustments to our game plan." Khalid's heart dropped. "What adjustments?" Samir's response was chilling. "Let's just say the clock has started ticking. If you don't deliver a message soon, there'll be consequences you want to face." A low rumble echoed through the docks, and Khalid instinctively sensed danger lurking ahead. They were caught in a trap, and the walls were closing in. Blood pounded in his ears. "Layla, listen," he whispered, determination igniting within him. "We'll find a way out. We just need a moment, something to turn the tide." With Samir's men now blocking their path, the tension stretched unbearably thin. Khalid felt his breath hitch, every second slipping through his fingers like sand. The sirens were closer now, but would help arrive before it was too late. The crushing pressure of a choice loomed heavier than ever. In his heart, Khalid knew they couldn't back down. But what price would they have to pay to survive? As Samir's laughter faded into the night, a new sound began to build in the distance, rhythms of a crowd, instigating expectations. Would they find an ally in the noise? Or was it merely a cruel twist in this deadly game? The answers loomed just ahead, shrouded in darkness. Despite the chaos, Khalid's resolve hardened. He couldn't let Samir dictate the terms. His focus shifted towards Layla and the fragile girl they needed to save. As Samir's laughter echoed darkly in the dim light, Khalid drew Layla closer, whispering, "We need to create a distraction. It's our only shot." Layla's eyes widened, a mix of fear and adrenaline rushing through her. "What do you have in mind?" Before he could respond, Samir pushed through the ranks of his men, his amusement turning predatory. "You really think you can escape, Khalid? You're out of your depth." He raised his phone, his finger hovering over a button. "Let us up the stakes. If you don't cooperate soon, I'll make sure your little friend here pays the price." Khalid's blood ran cold. "No. Layla, we need to move now." With a surge of adrenaline coursing through him, Khalid took a chance. He dove towards a stack of crates nearby, shouting, "Hey! Over here!" The men glanced towards him, surprised. With a thrust of his body, he toppled the crates, sending a cascade of wood and metal crashing to the ground, accompanied by a deafening clatter. The goons turned, confused, and in that instant, Khalid shouted to Layla, "Run to the end of the dock. Keep low." In the midst of the chaos, he felt a surge of purpose. Layla darted ahead, her heart racing, while Khalid stayed behind, determined to buy her precious moments. He located a rusty metal pipe among the wreckage and lifted it, a weapon against the threatening shadows. "Get her!" Samir snarled, urging his men as they turned back towards Khalid. As the goons began to close in, Khalid swung the pipe with fierce determination, catching one of them squarely in the gut. The thug doubled over, and Khalid seized the moment, sprinting towards Layla. "Go! I'll hold them off!" he shouted, desperation coloring his voice, but even as he hurled himself against the darkness, he knew he wouldn't let her down. "No!" Layla's scream echoed through the night, filled with raw desperation. But Khalid pushed through the chaos, feeling the heavy weight of the night pressing down on him. Samir's men surged forward like a tidal wave, but Khalid's heart stoked an unquenchable fire. He thrust the pipe again, desperation throwing adrenaline like fuel on the flames, buying precious seconds as Layla sprinted toward the edge of the dock. "Get the girl!" Samir roared, panic finally breaking through his arrogance. Khalid shoved another thug aside, eyes scanning for Layla, who was almost at the narrow path leading to salvation. He could see the shadows behind her beginning to ripple with movement. "Layla! Go!" he yelled, fear twisting in his gut. She glanced back at him, terror stretching her face thin. "Khalid, please, come with me." Khalid's mind raced, every instinct screaming to reach her, to run into the night together and escape this nightmarish game. But just as he took a step toward her, Samir's voice sliced through the air like glass. "Pathetic. You think you can save her? If you follow her, I swear you'll regret this." Khalid froze, caught in the gravity of Samir's words. The shadows shifted closer, and a dread coil snaked around his heart. He had to act. A cacophony of sirens erupted, drowning out everything else, louder and more insistent than before. The crimson and blue light streaked through the darkness, casting harshness over the chaos. He gestured toward Layla. "Now, before they come." With one last terrified glance, Layla propelled herself forward, fear and hope intertwining as she bolted towards the flickering lights. Khalid could see the other side, the freedom awaiting her through the shadows, and it fueled him. With renewed purpose, he turned back to face Samir, adrenaline coursing fiercely through him. "I want to let you take her." He hurled the pipe again, catching another thug off guard. "Fool!" Samir hissed, lunging forward, but with the sound of approaching sirens blending into the chaos, Khalid felt the tide begin to turn. Time was bending, each second stretching into eternity as the shadows closed. "This isn't over, Khalid." He spat, and with that, he and his men began to retreat, shadows swallowed by the night. As Khalid turned and raced towards the exit, he spotted Layla waiting, her relief mingled with panic. What about your fight? She gasped, desperation still clinging to her voice. I'll find a way, Khalid gasped, determination surging. But we need to get out. They propelled into the night, the lights growing more pronounced, signaling safety just within reach. As they reached the street, Khalid felt hope blossoming against the backdrop of sheer fear. Get in! He shouted, as he pushed Layla toward a nearby taxi that slowed. The driver eyed them warily, but Khalid yanked open the door. Please, just go. Layla hustled in, clutching her daughter to her chest tightly. Khalid slid in beside her, the taxi driver glancing nervously at the chaos still erupting at the docks. Where to? A hospital. Now! Khalid commanded, the urgency burning in his voice. The driver hesitated momentarily before speeding off, leaving the chaos behind. Khalid caught Layla's eye, the depth of fear shared between them. You did great, he said softly, though his heart continued to race with dread over what lay ahead. Her voice steadied slightly. Did we really get away? Khalid took a deep breath, the weight of his choice heavy. For now. But it's far from over. Samir 1T stop. I 1T let him not until we're safe. In the soft glow of the taxi's interior, as the city roared past, a sense of unyielding resilience ignited between them. They knew the fight wasn't over. It had just begun. But united, they were determined to overcome the darkness, whatever it took, as long as hope remained a flickering light in their hearts. And with time on their side for now, they would chase that light, ready to rise from the ashes of despair. Remember this moment. It represents everything they had fought for. And for all of you out there following their story, you need to subscribe now. Don't let this epic tale slip away from you. Smash that like button to show your support, and the algorithm will thank you. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories on what's next. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this nail-biter of a conclusion. Your engagement means everything, so let us keep the story alive.